Welcome to Making Video Games with Python Lesson 17. In this video, we're going to put the finishing touches on Flappy Birds by adding sound and additional graphics to kind of dress up the game a little bit more, fix a small glitch that I'm not sure if you've seen or experienced in that you can actually fly over the pipes in order to avoid them. And then we'll finish off with some possible enhancements you might want to add to the game. So let's get to it. All right, so we've gone ahead and created variables in order to collect the coins, to hear the bird flapping, for when the bird hits the pipes or the bar, and then finally kind of like a dying sound that kind of signals that we're done with the game. If you recall that the sound class is pretty simple, you pretty much just load up the sound files, assign them to a channel, and then play them when you want to play them. So for instance, the point, if we go to our play screen, we want to play the point sound effect when the bird actually collects a coin. So let's do that. The wing sound effect we want to play whenever we actually press the space bar in order to get the bird to flap. So we'll say wing.play. The hitting sound we want to play anytime the bird ends up hitting the bar or the pipes. And then lastly, we want to play that die sound just prior to the game over screen. So we're going to play that here. So notice that this particular sound effect is being played outside of the game loops. Again, it's still part of the game, so it is going to happen between these two game loops. So let's try this out. All right, so you can hear I'm flapping the wings. Sound effect for collecting the coins. I'll collect one more. And let's go ahead and... So you heard the two sound effects there, the hitting and then the dying sound. I want to play the game one more time because I want to talk about, I think I'm going to handle the glitch first before doing the additional graphics. So let's play it again. I don't know if I'll get there in time. Let's see. So notice I'm flying well above the screen, and technically I could kind of stay there. Let's see if he comes back down. He should come back down eventually. There it is. So to me, that's somewhat a glitch. Some people might say, well, you know, it's not really a glitch because at that point you're not collecting the coins either. But in reality, the bird should not leave the screen. So let's handle that small glitch. So if we go over to our play screen game loop, we have to add another if statement, very similar to this one, except that this time we're going to be checking the bird's Y value to make sure that it doesn't go over the top bar. Now, I'm going to swing back over to this one here. If you recall, in terms of the coordinate system, this top part of the game, actually technically this one right here, just below the menu bar, has a value of y equals 0. So anything that goes above this becomes a negative value. So it becomes real easy for us to check if the bird has gone off the top, if it has a negative value. And if that's the case, we're also going to set game over equal to true. Now, instead of adding another if statement, because notice that's another reason for us to end the game, I'm simply going to add it to this already humongous if statement in that if the bird collides with the bar or the pipes, either one, top or bottom, or if the bird's Y value is negative, then the game is over. All right. So you can see here, it doesn't always have to be the same thing with collided with. You could pretty much combine all different kinds of conditions with either the or and the and that don't necessarily have to be the same condition, but that could result in the same outcome. So let's see if that fixes our problem of being able to cheat in terms of flying too high. So I'm going to try to get through this one. And let's see what happens when I fly too high. Oops. And there we go. The game's over. You'll also notice that the game ended almost immediately. And that was because I had the spacebar press, which is what we're using to kind of end the screen, end the game on this one. So we might want to switch this up to a Q. So let's switch this up to Q. So press Q to quit. And let's try that one more time. And let's go ahead and fly high. Okay, so that worked out great. And you can see here, we still got the game over screen available because we're not pressing the spacebar to get out of this screen. I actually have to press the Q. So again, sometimes these are some of those little things that you're not going to see until you've kind of tested your game out quite a few times. And I'll tell you, that's an important part of any kind of game development. The idea of testing the game to kind of see things that you may not have anticipated. Let's also move this up a little bit more. All right, so the other thing I wanted to do is I wanted to dress up the game a little bit more in that first screen. Not the first screen, but the play screen. So I'm going to create another animation. I'm going to call this Rings 2. So it's the same animation, but for a slightly different purpose. Let's do a Rings 2 dot move to, and let's move this to, let's say 50, and game dot height minus 70. And what I'm going to do here on the play screen, instead of just displaying the score, what I like to do is to rings 2 dot draw is to have a ring there right next to the score, which means I'm going to have to move this one over. So let's try 70. All right, so again, just as a little bit of graphic, I would like to have the ring there with the score next to it. So I definitely saw that I needed to bring the ring down a little bit more. Where's that ring to? So to bring it down more, maybe let's do 50. And I think the score needed to be moved over a little bit more. So let's try 90. And I also want to do something like this. Let's do an X with a space plus, and then the score. Again, these are those little things, you could constantly keep adding things to games just to make it look better. And sometimes it's the details that makes the game great. Okay, so we can see here, here's our coin, kind of signaling that this is what we're collecting. And we can see here, this is showing us how many we've collected. And let me go ahead and die. So Q. And I think at this point, we could talk about some enhancements. So what are some things we can add to the game? So looking at our kind of like our main graphics, I mean, there's so many things we can do. We can switch between night and day. We can add some additional graphics as part of our game. The other thing we can do too that we haven't implemented was the idea of maybe having multiple pipes up on the screen. Right now, we're just challenged with one set of pipes that fly on the screen. Again, if we had to deal with two pipes on the screen and have to navigate through both of them, that would be a little more challenging. All right, so let's go back to our presentation. So this is our final video for Flappy Birds, and hopefully you can appreciate all the things that have gone into implementing this game. And trust me, in the next game, you'll be exploring more things and building off what you've learned here. So hopefully you enjoyed it, and goodbye.